Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Happy Saturday night to you. My name's Andy Owen, and I'm joined very briefly by our good friend WHF Arrow. Arrow, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome in.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in to Saturday night. Of course, the regular season has ended, but we do have May Mystery Month. It's tier 2. It's round 2. And tonight, we've got a little bit of a treat in store for you. Ski, how you doing? Benga boy, nice to see you. And of course, Addiction as well. Hopefully you're looking forward to this one. We're going to keep things a little bit secretive this evening and let you know what's in store for the rest of the evening. Micro Rage, good evening. Hope you're doing well, mate. Arrow, you don't know which track we're racing tonight, do you? Nobody does, because it's my little secret. And that's going to be the last thing I let you know what we go and race later on. The first thing we've got to do, though, is I think we need to understand. I can see that there's plenty of guys in cars. I'm afraid, gentlemen, you shall have to exit your vehicles, because we are going to let fate decide which cars you are going to be driving in this evening by the wonders of the magical wheel. So bear with me and make sure I don't click the wrong button and we find out the magic wheel of fortune, or non-fortune, as it may be. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There is the wheel of fortune. Obviously, we've only got 12 drivers in tonight, so we are only going to be utilising 6 of our Formula One teams. You'll see all the names down the right-hand side there, and I'd like each and every single one of you, please, to pay a lot of attention to see which vehicles we shall be going in tonight. The teams that we'll be racing with tonight are Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Alpine, McLaren, and then we're going to go and skip into the mean green machine. It's going to be Aston Martin. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with Aston Martin to see who is going to be racing in the green mean machine tonight. We'll see the wheel. We're going to click it to spin and see who's in that vehicle. Let's see then. So the first person in a machine this evening, it's the lanky one. The lanky one, you, sir, are going to be in the green machine. Lanky one, please get yourself into the Aston Martin. Next up, joining you in the Aston Martin, we are going to have just about green by name, green by machine. It's Ty Clear. Ty Clear, you're in, mate. You're in. Get yourself in the Aston Martin. Let's get that typed up as well so we can put this into chat so everybody's aware of what they're doing. Next up, then, it's going to be the McLaren next up. The papaya. Who's going to be painting themselves in papaya? Is it going to be Tantrum Turnip? It isn't. It's going to be Newtomatic. Newtomatic. You're in the McLaren.
One of his favourite cars as well.
Say again?
One of Pneumatic's favorite cars is the McLaren, so
There you
I'm
go.
sure he'll be pleased with that.
He'll be pleased. Excellent. We do like it when drivers are pleased, Arrow. We do. We do. Right then, joining Newtomatic in the McLaren, we are gonna have. It's looking increasingly like Friggy. Friggy, you are in the McLaren. Type McLaren. Type Friggy. Okay then. Now then, who's in the mobile hairdryer? Sorry, I mean the Alpine.
So is it Alpine, Mercedes, Ferrari, then Red Bull? Yeah.
Alpine, Mercedes, Ferrari, then Red Bull. That's right.
All right.
It's Addiction. Addiction's going to be in the Alpine.
And he is French and is also already in the Alpine because he has an Alpine seat.
There you go.
So-
No change, no change.
Keeps that Alpine seat.
Addiction's teammate for this evening's Mystery Grand Prix is going to be Brebis Sauvage. Is he also
Who's-
French?
Also French, also already has a seat in the Alpine.
There you go.
It's Ocon and Gasly have showed up for the race today.
They're in. They're in. Right, then we move on to the Mercedes next. Driving our Mercedes. Hopefully there's 6 names left. Yes, there are. Mercedes, it's going to be the Tantruming Turnip. In the Mercedes. And joining him, taking up that second driver spot in the Mercedes, it's going to be... I don't know who that is. It's Ranga. Just about sneaked over to Ranga.
All right, I'm really happy with whatever happens now.
Okay, then. So we've got Ferrari and Red Bull up for grabs. We've got Arrow, Spared Fungus, Raf, and Josh left. Let's see who's taking up that first seat in the Ferrari then. It's going to be the Spared Fungus in the first of our Ferrari seats tonight. And joining him, who will be joining him? Will Arrow yet again be sat in the Ferrari, or will he be in the Red Bull? It's going to be Josh. By the look of it, Josh is going to take the seat in the Ferrari.
All right, this seems a little scripted.
Seems a bit scripted, but it isn't. So let's just play for fun and see who's in the first driver's seat. It's going to be Arrow. Number 1 driver for Red Bull is going to be Arrow. And of course, we're just going to spin the wheel anyway. No, it's going to be. We're going to type Raf's name in anyway. But it's going to be Raf. So, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, that is your lineup for this evening. Hopefully everybody has that. I will do a quick snip and stick it into the chat. I'll get myself on. Where am I trying to get to? Let's get to the bar first. Right then, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go put this into the chat. The tier 2 chat. If I can get anything to work this evening, that would be a minor miracle.
Car's RAF in?
He is in the Red Bull alongside your good self.
Oh. RAF has kept his seat in the Red Bull. And is everyone in the right car? Tag needs to get out of the Ferrari.
Okay, there we go. Let's get that copied and dumped into that driver's chat.
Pneumatic is wearing his McLaren shirt.
I love that Pneumatic.
What is
Superb.
hilarious is that I'm wearing a Red Bull shirt, even though I'm not a Red Bull fan.
Hilarious.
I just put it out there
Good stuff. Right then.
into the universe.
Is everybody in the right vehicle?
I'm just waiting for Ty.
Just waiting for Ty.
And then
Yeah. Waiting for Ty. While we do that, why don't we listen to a word from one of our sponsors.
If you're looking for signed Formula 1 memorabilia, then look no further than F1Collectors.com. If you're looking for signed Formula 1 memorabilia, then look no further than F1Collectors.com. If you want signed memorabilia from the greats like Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, and you guessed it, 3-time world champion Max Verstappen, then head to the bio and find the link to F1Collectors.com. If you're looking for signed Formula 1 memorabilia, then look no further than F1Collectors.com. If you want signed memorabilia from the greats like Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, and you guessed it, 3-time world champion Max Verstappen, then head to the bio and find the link to F1Collectors.com.
There you go then, there's a word from one of our sponsors, F1Collectors.com. Go check out that website, a host of incredibly good stuff for you to take advantage of, being a part of the WHF community. Right then, I believe we're almost in a position to get going. We're just going to wait for Ty Clear. Ty, if you're listening, my friend, you need to hop out of the Ferrari. You are going to be in a different vehicle. If I remember rightly, Ty, you are in the Aston Martin this evening. Alongside the lanky one, if you could be so kind as to jump into that, please. That would be sensational.
I'm gonna try and see if I can message him on PlayStation somehow.
Yeah, okay, pal. In the meantime, what kind of tracks would you like to race tonight? Bearing in mind I've already made the decision, but it'd be just nice to see nobody pick the track that you're going to be racing. Lanky, when you're speaking to him now, thank you very much, pal. Really appreciate it. History is to be made. Fate has decided the McLaren. Castellet. Spa. Please, let's race in France. You French addiction? We just like...
I just love how Addiction and Brevis are both already in the Alpine, both French, and then the wheel just give them both the Alpine again. It's just, it's fate. It's set in stone.
It is. And do you know what? Funnily enough, Addiction, I do love Paul Ricard. It is one of my favourite tracks. But I have a host of favourite tracks. It'll be interesting to see how we get on. We're still waiting for Ty. I don't want to. You're wearing your Esteban Ocon cap right now. Good stuff, mate. Well done to you, Addiction, and good luck in the race. We are slightly overrunning, so it's 4 minutes past 9. We're just going to wait for Ty to hop himself out of that Ferrari into the Aston Martin.
Ty at this point has like 30 pings.
Yeah. Ty said he had to run out for 5 minutes to drop someone off. He's on his way back. Oh, good.
All right.
Jolly good.
Well, at least we can wait for him to get back.
We can wait for him to get back. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I won't announce the track just yet then. I will keep the track.
Where did he say he needs to run out?
Say again?
Where did he say he needs to run out?
He didn't. Lanky One has just said in stream chat that Ty's run out for 5 minutes to drop somebody off. He's on his way back.
All right. That makes
Diction
sense.
says that Monaco would be a slaughter. Monaco, pleased with rain, says Benga Boy. Good lord. Arrow subscribes to the channel. 30 months, and of course you would expect nothing less from the main man himself. He's dropping his partner off somewhere. Okay, that's cool. Portimao, says Addiction. In my opinion, Portimao would have been a good choice tonight. I do like those twisty, turny sections, the elevation changes throughout the course of a lap. Spa, says Newtomatic yet again. So a few votes for Spa. Plenty of votes for France. Mainly from our French contingent, of course, it has to be said. Yeah, I do love Portimao Addiction. It is a very, very nice track. There's a new one, so I'm assuming Fungus is Spare Fungus, and he said he would like us to be racing around Mexico. Brands Hatch, Benga Boy. How did you guess it was Brands Hatch? How did you guess? Message I had for him was, could I tell him what stipulations were as he had to run out but back during quali? Just a shame it's something we need him to do. Yes, he'll need to get back a little bit sharper than that. Because if you're paying attention to the lobby, ladies and gentlemen, you'll maybe see that there is no qualification. Maybe that was one of the mysteries for this evening. Barcelona Catalunya, do like that. Foot Fungus is in fact Spared Fungus. I thought he was. So bearing in mind you've seen which cars people are in. Who do you think's in a quickest car tonight?
Oh, man. Ty's now in the Aston. He's got back.
Ty's in the Aston. There we go. We've got Josh in the Ferrari. We've got Spared Fungus in the Ferrari. Arrow's in the Red Bull. Raf is in the Red Bull. There we go, and there we have it. I believe we're in a good place to start proceedings, Arrow. Is that right?
Yep.
We're in good proceedings. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the track I've selected for tonight. Couple of really quick parts of the track. Some iconic curves, certainly in Sector 1. Plenty of elevation throughout Sectors 2 and indeed Sector 3. One of the most iconic tracks on the circuit. It is not Portimao. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to this evening's track of choice. We are heading to Sao Paulo. It's Interlagos.
Ooh.
One of my favorite all-time tracks. 2 DRS zones, 4.3 miles, 2.67 miles even. And of course, 15 turns. The iconic Senna S's down in towards DRS Zone 1 there. Then we get into the twisty, turny section around Sector 2 where you can win and, of course, you can lose. Climbing up the hill then into Sector 3 for that final DRS zone to start and to finish and then start the next lap. So that is your track for this evening. Benga Boy seems to be lacking a little bit of confidence as he says P12 incoming and Addiction. You are correct. There is indeed no equal performance. There is also no qualification. So what we will be doing is a random grid lineup for tonight's race around Interlagos with realistic performance. Oh, Lord, says Addiction. Let's hope that Alpine finds an upgrade between now and the start of the race, my friend. I guess we're ready to go, Arrow, I think. Should we get everything ready up?
Yeah, I'm just double checking the final... Just double checking everything to make sure that everything's ready to go.
We're having a last double check. Not all of them, Fungus. Not all of them. Not all of them. Only a couple.
Yeah. That's what's ready to go.
Okay, we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to start your engines, or indeed just hit the radio button, then we will head. We will head to Brazil. Arrow, if you're jumping out now, I shall see you later.
Alright, see you later. Have a good stream.
I'll do my very best, sir. You have a great race.
Alright, see everyone later.
See you all later, guys. Well, I'll see you now, of course, because I'm still here. I am going to hop out of the voice party, though, so hopefully it doesn't ruin the connection. Equal is off because it's a mystery month, Nudomatic. It's mystery month, and therefore... whatever happens is a mystery, unless I leaked it by accident earlier on. So here we are then. It's race time. It's in Brazil. We've got a random grid set up, so it'll be interesting to see where our 12 drivers and 6 teams are on the grid. Well, I'm actually hoping for a couple of Red Bulls to be at the back. That would be most preferable. And maybe the Astons or the Alpines out in front on pole. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Of course, because there is no qualification, we are going to be jumping straight into racing conditions. I suppose the big question is going to be, How's setup going to play a part? How's setup going to play a part in this race? Make Lotus great again, says Addiction. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what do you know? The rain in Brazil falls mainly on Interlagos. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got ourselves certainly a wet start to this race. So, lap 1 is going to be a little bit damp. There's going to be inter tyres on. Doesn't look wet enough for full wets. But we're going to have ourselves some intermediate conditions at the start of this race. I'm sure we're going to find... don't ready up, ladies and gentlemen, till 9:14. Looks like we're going to have ourselves a cheeky little race. We always like a little bit of rain when it spices things up then. You're on the front row, are you, Benga? Never knew this is what it looked like. P3 for Addiction in the Alpine. Okay. I'm glad you boys know where you are, because I've got no idea yet. Good stuff, though, guys. Good to see P1 to P12 speed run incoming. So, on the front row for Benga. Love that. P3, first to last, says Addiction. I like the way the safety cars just park quite nicely at the end of pit row there. Let's hope for one of two things. We have a nice incident-free race where we don't need to get the safety car out too often. And certainly, let's make sure we get 12 drivers home tonight. It's your chance to have a showcase in one of the lesser performance cars and stamp your authority on this race with your driving skill. I guess that would be the main objective for some of you guys, perhaps in Alpines, Aston Martins, maybe even McLarens. Whereas the Mercedes, Ferraris and Red Bull don't want to get too greedy too early. That would be a major turn-off if we lose, guys. Certainly at turn 1, lap 1. So remember, boys, take your time. The conditions look treacherous. The race is long. It is 36 laps. It's still your usual 50% race. The race is long. Do not ruin yourself and other people's races. Turn 1, lap 1. Anywhere on lap 1 for that matter. But certainly not at turn 1. Do we have any early positive predictions from our drivers? I do believe that there are plenty of negative ones. First to last. Here we go then. It's a Mercedes and a Red Bull on pole. 5 lights are on. And it's showtime tonight as Tantrum Turnip leads them all away in that Mercedes down towards turn 1. Being challenged by an Alpine. And it's Red Bull that takes the lead of the race. And round goes the Mercedes of Tantrum Turnip. Yellow flags are out. Doesn't look like there's any damage on that car, but it's Raf in the Red Bull who leads them away down that first straight, followed quickly by 2 Alpines in Addiction and Bribis. Ranger in the Mercedes, followed by Spared Fungus in the Ferrari. The McLaren's flying in formation, almost flying in formation. Couple of ropey moments there, but it's Newtomatic and Phrygian 7 and 8 with Josh progressing himself. We saw something fly off a car there. Don't know what it was, looked like an end plate. And we have got carnage happening. The 2 Mercedes in Ranger and Tantrum Turnip relegated to the rear of the field in P11 and P12. But it's Raf, 1.5 seconds down the road from the 2 Alpines of Addiction and Brebisovic here on lap 1 of 36. It's Interlagos. It's raining. The track is damp. And we've got ourselves some gaps developing already due to comings together further on down the field. As Arrow takes P9 from Spared Fungus, Red Bull on Ferrari then, towards the end of lap 1. Raf down that long home straight then, in what is, that's turn 15, they've just gone round towards the start-finish line, and a 1:27.8 is the first lap on the board, which will, of course, be bettered on lap 2. Here we go then. Places swapping all the time. Brevis and Josh obviously battling it out. The two Aston Martins side by side as they exit the Senna S's down towards... no DRS obviously going to be, but we've got a battle on our hands here. We've got a battle on our hands here. It's Alpine, McLaren and a Ferrari in close contact. A little bit of a push off track from the McLaren on the Alpine. Sees the Alpine drop 2 positions. And yeah, the McLaren just about, McLaren of Newtomatic just about holds on to P3 there. Brevis Sauvage loses 2 positions. He was in 3rd place, deep on the corner from Newtomatic. Gets himself under pressure from Josh in that Ferrari, who's made good ground. Let's just have a quick double check then and see whereabouts people have made positions already. Position changes is up. 7 positions up is the Ferrari of Josh. Great start from him. Down 9, down 4, down 6 there for Tantrum, Ranga and Spared Fungus, respectively. As Spared Fungus obviously had himself some kind of incident there on lap number 2, because he's dropped plenty of positions. Up 8 now, Josh, as he takes P3 from Newtomatic. Ferrari on McLaren. Well, out in front, 2.8 seconds down the road. Check it out, early doors. It's R.A. Fitz in that Red Bull. 3 seconds down the road now. 3 seconds from Addiction, currently sat in P2 in the Alpine, to Josh in the Ferrari as well. Newtomatic in the Mercedes, beg your pardon, in the McLaren. Now 1 second back. 1 second gap then to Brevis Sauvage. Ty Clear closely following in the Aston Martin. Brevis about to put the Aston Martin into a position where it's going to challenge the Alpine here. Going through that long left-hander up towards the up the hill. Gets pushed off the track. A little bit of bumpy, wheelie, and Brevis Sauvage keeps himself in P5. A possible mistake from Addiction has allowed another 1.4 seconds to build into that gap between himself and Fitz, with Josh closing that 3 second gap down to 1.1 seconds now in P3. Early doors though, early doors. It may seem as though we have ourselves a Red Bull streaking out in front. We've heard that before, by the way. I'm pretty sure of it. But the race is long as Arrow and Lanky exchange positions 7th and 8th. 5 cars here tussling for position as we head towards turn 1. Taking a wide line, it's the Aston Martin. And Arrow loses plenty of positions there. Went very deep into turn 1. Loses positions. Lost 4 positions there, I think. As Tantrum's the first driver to pick up a penalty for his interpretation of track limits, which is not the same as, of course, the stewarding team. Ranga and Spared Fungus then seem to be quite a way back off there. Newtomatic picks up himself 3 seconds as well. Multiple warnings for him. As Lanky One and Newtomatic exchange positions. A little bit of bumping again as we come up through Sector 2. This is the bit I was talking about in the track where you can win and lose pretty quick in this section. Normally, even in dry conditions, it's easy to make time up in slower corners if you have better entries and exits. In these conditions, where the rain pours, even more so. So even more important that you get your head on, you focus up and you make it a safe entry and exit into these corners. Big tussle going on in the midfield here between Brevis Sauvage, Ty Clear, Lanky One, Newtomatic and Arrow, with Friggy not too far off the back of that group of 5 drivers here on lap 5 of 36. Well, technically they're on lap 4. Lap 5, we're going to see Ty Clear making a move here, are we, on Brevis Sauvage? No, doesn't quite get alongside in time to make a move into turn 1. Tucks in behind at turns 2. Gets the move done, though, through the Senna S's to get himself up into P4. Brevis Sauvage relegated yet again down into P5 as Newtomatic and Arrow exchanging places down this long straight. Getting a challenge in, then Red Bull getting a challenge in from a Mercedes. Mercedes runs wide, so Tantrum Turnip up alongside a Mercedes, up alongside a Red Bull into turn 4 at Brazil. That is something we've seen before as well, and similar outcomes with the Mercedes running wide off the track. That gap seems to have solidified now. Josh has taken P2 in that Ferrari. He's taken P2 from Addiction. Looks like Addiction made a mistake because now we've got a quick 5.5 second gap that's formed. So things are shaping up quite well for the Ferrari of Josh then. He'll be looking to reduce that gap as he puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:19.3. That gap was almost 5 seconds. It's now down to 3.7. So good lap that from Josh. He's managed to eat into the lead of that Red Bull out in front. We said it was going to be a long race. We said that things could change. Whether the rain does appear to be falling slightly lighter. Are we going to see ourselves a crossover period round about lap 12? I would imagine if the rain continues to slow down like it seems to be doing now, I think by the time we get to lap 12, we might see ourselves a little crossover period, which will be interesting. Are we going to see people jump on the hard tyre and try and run the rest of the race on the hard? Are we going to see some of these guys towards the midfield and towards the back where some of the gaps have begun to evolve? Are we going to see some of those guys throw some softies on and see if they can make up some positions on that soft tyre? Tantrum Turnip picks up a penalty of 3 seconds himself, down in P9 there. That's his second warning of the race. Second penalty of the race, though. So he's now on 6 seconds. We've got the Red Bull of Arrow challenging the McLaren of Newtomatic here. Deep in Sector 2, coming towards the end of Sector 2 now. Seems to get a good run out of this, does Arrow. Will be looking, no doubt, to get a run up the hill. Tucks in behind, coming through to the last thing. And deep goes the McLaren, and through goes the Red Bull of Arrow. Newtomatic making a mistake there at turn 13. And through goes the Red Bull. 3.6 second gap for him to chase down now on the lanky one. The lanky one challenging Brebis Sauvage then for P5 at turn 1 through the center S's. Too tentative was the Alpine. And through goes the lanky one to take P5. It's now Aston Martin's flying in formation, P4 and P5. 2.8 second, 2.7 second gap between Ty Clear and WT Addiction, the Frenchman, driving the second of our Alpines. 9.3 seconds off the back of Josh, who's closed in 3/10 as we have a yellow flag. It's Ranger. Ranger's gone off at turn 1 through the center S's. Maybe contact with Sped Fungus in the Ferrari. We won't know until we see the steward's report, perhaps later on. Friggy picks up 3 seconds as well. 3.4 seconds the gap then between Josh in the Ferrari and Raf in that Red Bull machine. Lap 7 of 36, coming towards the end of lap 7 now. Rain falling even lighter than it had done previously. Where have we got some racing going on here? I guess the racing right now is Newtomatic, Tantrum and Friggy, the guys with the penalties, in P8, 9 and 10 then. Good news, and we could have our first commentator's curse of the moment of the evening. We do still have all 12 drivers racing around this beautiful Brazilian circuit. Beautiful if a little bit damp, it has to be said. Are we going to see a challenge by Tantrum up the inside at turn 1? We are indeed, he does. But he goes too deep, the switcheroo then cuts a corner. Everybody's going off track. Yellow flags. It's the Mercedes again going round. It's Ranger who's gone off this time, as we're on board with Tantrum Turnip in the other Mercedes down towards turn 4 then. Makes the move work, makes it stick this time, but both drivers go off track then round turn 5. Back up the hill then toward turn 6, the start of the real challenging part of Sector 2. And we've got a real problem. Ranger is having himself a shocker right now. If you've got some damage, Ranger, don't worry, keep going, brother. You'll be fine. Do not worry yourself. Where's the racing then? It's still with our guys in the Mercedes, McLaren then. P8 and 9 specifically, as Newtomatic picks up a warning as well. Penalties may well play a big part in the end result of this race this evening. I'm looking forward to seeing how some of the drivers in these cars, the Alpines and Aston Martins in particular, who are performing very well right now, looking forward to seeing how those guys perform. Obviously, we're only 8 laps into a 36-lap race. Can these guys hold on to some positions further on up towards the top end of our classifications in what is our May Mystery Month here at WHF? If you're here for the very first time, we hope we're having a great time. Tantrum does make a mistake through the center S's, goes off track yet again. He maybe will be picking up himself another penalty not too far from now. As Arrow and Sauvage swap places, where are we looking here? Oh, a little bit of a challenge then between the Alpine and the Red Bull. Red Bull closes the door on the inside of turn 5. Up towards turn 6 and 7 we go. The Mercedes of Ranga is having himself a absolute nightmare. And we'll see there he is on the left-hand side. He's DNF'd, unfortunately. We've lost our first car of the night. And it is the Mercedes of Ranga. Ranga had an absolute nightmare last couple of laps. After what was a tentative start from him, getting sent into the wilderness on that first couple of corners. What I hadn't noticed, of course, here is that actually we've got Josh in the Ferrari now out in front. Josh in the Ferrari out in front, followed by Raf. So the Red Bull, a mistake from the Red Bull, or maybe just some great driving. Okay, Josh lets him through. So maybe that was a mistake from him. Into the pits then goes Tyclear in the first of our Aston Martin's first pit stop of the night. 3 seconds for Addiction. This gives everybody an opportunity, of course, to catch up back to the pack. All those gaps that we saw forming pretty early in this evening's race can now all be brought back together. So we are going to see a couple of laps under safety car conditions here at Interlagos tonight. Excuse me. Hopefully we don't go under safety car conditions for too long. I will take this opportunity to get myself a drink, though, however, because my throat does feel rather dry. Back in a second, everybody. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with you. Got destroyed on turn 1, says Benga Boy. Not a good race, unfortunately. I'm assuming that you're Ranga. That is indeed unfortunate, my friend. We won't be too far away. We just got to wait for the Ferrari Asped Fungus to catch up to the back of this group. I would imagine that lap 12 will probably be our last lap under safety car conditions if Ranga can catch up. I do believe the rain has stopped, and we've seen somebody make a move. We've seen plenty of people make a move. Look what I missed. I saw all these guys making moves whilst we were racing, but obviously everybody's dived into the pits to throw on some hard tyres. Wise decision, if you ask me, because the rain looks like it has stopped, and we'll see ourselves a dry line on this track. I did say lap 12. I think that was probably a bit of a lucky guess, but we'll go for it. we'll suggest that we made the right call. Into the pits goes Friggy as well. He's going to throw on the hards. The top three then have decided to stay out on the wet intermediate tyres in Addiction, Tantrum and Newtomatic. Alpine now leading the race with Raf Fitz, the first of our cars on the hard tyre. I imagine that he will begin to make progress pretty quickly once we get going green again. It doesn't look like we're going to get going green on lap 13. It might be lap 14, purely because the Ferrari of Sped Fungus is now quite back, and Friggy's actually thrown on some fresh intermediates. Interesting choice from the man in the Papaya McLaren. Are we going to see the safety car just go this lap anyway? Because the majority of the drivers are at the back of this group now. Safety car is indeed in this lap. So Spared Fungus has got himself some work to do. We're about to go green again, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we've still got 4 drivers on the intermediate tyre. We'll keep it going, and we are going. It's Addiction. He has gone, has he? He's gone into the pits. That's where he's gone. And the race leader is now Tantrum Turnip, still on the intermediate tyre. The track is dry. I think we'll be seeing these guys get swallowed up pretty quickly. Tantrum overtaken by... Oh, big unbraking problems from... I don't even know who that was. Newtomatic goes from first at the first turn down to 9th after that mistake on the intermediate tyres. Friggy up into P7. But the track looks dry to me. There goes Josh on those fresh, hard tyres then, on this now dry track around the intermediate runner of Tantrum Turnip, and begins to pull out a gap. Already 7/10. No doubt going to get quicker because that tyre is now unsuitable for racing conditions, as you can see, as Fitz goes in. Fitz actually loses the back end and sends himself into the wilderness. So he drops back down to 8th. Big ask now for the Red Bull driver. We are only on lap 13, though, of 36. So plenty of time to go. Let's see how the intermediate runner is going to hold up against these hard runners then behind him. Stacking behind him is Brevis Savage, Ty Clear, Arrow and Lanky One. Queuing up behind Tantrum Turnip to make some kind of move down into turn 1. I think we're going to see ourselves some action here. Let's jump on board with Brevis Savage in the Alpine then, chasing down... Where's he gone? Where did that go? The Aston Martin of Tyclear getting swallowed up. Into the pit lane goes Tantrum and Newtomatic then to get rid of those intermediate tyres. And up into second place is Brevis Savage, but he's going to be under pressure immediately by the Red Bull of Arrow. Arrow then down the inside then towards turn 4. Gets the move done, does he? Yeah, gets the move done in plenty of time then. Arrow down into turn 4. 4-second gap then between the Red Bull of Arrow and the Ferrari of Josh out in front. On lap 14 here of 36. The 2 Aston Martins still flying in formation in P4 and 5 behind the Alpine of Brevis Sauvage. Looks like the Alpine is going to be under some pressure then. Up that home straight. The DRS is going to be activated, I would imagine, very, very shortly. We will see DRS, the wings wide open, on these 2 Aston Martins, I believe. Possibly on the next lap after the Senna S's down that first DRS zone. Don't think we'll quite get it here, but we are going to see a challenge though. 1/10, less than 1/10, then 300ths of gap between the Aston Martin of Lanky One and Brevis Savage in the Alpine. Can the Alpine hold on then down towards turn 1? Aston Martin looks to make a move on the inside, backs out, thinks better of it, wants to hold it until this potential DRS zone. Is the wing going to be open yet? Yes, there it is. The wing open on that Aston Martin, as you can see, from the rear wing of the Alpine. Then down into turn 4. Gets the move done. Almost gets the move done with the other Aston Martin also putting his nose in. Later, slightly later on the brakes of the Alpine, but goes round and causes chaos. Carnage. It's Raf Fitz. Loses a front end plate. His race too close behind. Couldn't do anything about it as one of those cars lost a little bit of grip, went round, and actually, I think Fitz bumping into that Alpine of Savage as we've got ourselves another retirement then. Off goes Fitz then. A disappointed race for him. He's decided to call it a day. As Josh crosses the line out in front then. 4.2 seconds the gap between first in the Ferrari, second in the Red Bull. Yellow flags waving in Sector 3 as it's Fitz's car does indeed just kind of trundle off to the side as the two McLarens go past him now at the end of Sector 2, getting ready to climb up that hill to try and catch up with Phrygian Pneumatic on softs and mediums. That's been their decision right now. Is that decision going to be one that's going to enable them to close some of those bigger gaps? Speaking of gaps, the gap between Josh in the Ferrari and the Red Bull of Arrow is closing ever so slightly, 2/10 down on that lap. There's then a 3.4 second gap to the lanky one in P3. It's P4, it's Ty Clear. The second of our Aston Martin runners then. 2-second gap between him and his teammate. He's closely followed by Brevis Savage. Just over a second, just under a second, over a second. Somewhere around about a second gap between the Alpine and the Aston Martin. 20 laps remaining then. Or 21 laps. 20 and a half laps, let's say. Left of this 36-lap race here at Interlagos. Dry conditions now after that intermediate running early doors. Plenty of gaps. Plenty of gaps forming. 3.5 seconds now. The gap between Arrow. Let's just hang with Arrow for a second because he's just gone quickest lap. A 1:11.7. Closing the gap quite nicely now. Down to 3.4 seconds. Remember, it was over 4. He's closed 1 second down on that gap between himself and that Ferrari in the course of a lap and a half. The other smallest gap we've got is 2.1 seconds. So the field is spread. As you can tell from the track map in the bottom right-hand corner, the field is pretty much spread. What that does enable us to do as drivers, of course, is really kind of focus our attention on just putting down, maybe getting into qualification mode and just throwing down some quali laps to try and close down the gaps on the guy in front of you. Focusing up, no mistakes, making sure that you really do have your attention dialed in to the track in front of you and not necessarily worry about too many of the gaps. If you just focus in, certainly on a track where we've got lots of slow corners in Sector 2, will allow you to catch up or indeed get caught as we see the second of our Alpines in Addiction getting closed down by the Mercedes of Tantrum up to 3/10 now, and looks like he's going to make a challenge down there. He's got defending with ERS is Addiction. Is it going to be enough though? Because the rear wing will be open on that Mercedes then going down towards turn 1. Side by side they go. Round the outside, maybe for the Mercedes. No, the Alpine hangs on, but the Mercedes cutting the corner. Will have got a 1 in there. A little bit of a bumpy tyre moment between the two. And it's Addiction who actually steals the DRS from the Mercedes and therefore manages to keep himself out in front down towards turn 4 then. Does go off track. We saw some grass being up there from the back tyres of that Alpine. Only 2/10 in it between these two guys then. The gap up to 4.1 second now between the Ferrari of Josh and Arrow in that Red Bull out in front. The first two cars we've got on track in classifications. Still followed by two Aston Martins still flying in formation. The 3-second penalty. Is it 3 seconds for Ty Clear? Let's have a quick check. It is 3 seconds for Ty Clear. 9 seconds for Tantrum. 6 seconds for Phrygian. 9 seconds for Pneumatic. And 3 seconds for Addiction as well. So Tantrum, if Tantrum's going to get something done here, he's going to have the rear wing wide open, no doubt. There it is. Is he going to be able to make a move down towards turn 1? Or is he... he's probably going to get himself close enough. Take himself a steady line. Slight defensive line perhaps from the Alpine caused by some late braking. But I think we'll see something here from the Mercedes down towards turn 4. Does have no battery, but does indeed get himself out in front down into turn 4. Is he going to make the move stick though through turns 5 up the hill towards turn 6? He's got no battery left. 3 seconds for Sauvage. A little tap from behind from the Alpine. Addiction on Tantrum then. Addiction does indeed decide to apply a little bit more pressure to the brake pedal and allow the Mercedes of Tantrum to just gain a couple of tenths there. Spared Fungus in the Ferrari is also closed up on the back of the other Alpine. It's Spared Fungus on the back of Brebi Sauvage now going down towards the start-finish line and ultimately turn 1. Will he get close enough to make a move before turn 1? Doesn't look like it to me. Looks like he's going to save himself. Try and get himself a good exit from these 2 turns and make a run of it down towards turn 4. Seems a little bit far back, 6.5 tenths. Wing's going to be wide open, of course, on that Ferrari. As Addiction and Tantrum exchange positions again. As they'd got down through turn 1, 2. I think we're going to see ourselves a move here. Yes, we are. We are going to see a move yet again. The Mercedes, although cutting, and there's a piece of Alpine on the middle of the road because Tantrum in that Mercedes made a hash of turn 4, had to slow down, and therefore the Alpine did indeed crash into the back of him. More battles out in front here. Sorry, midfield. It's P5 and P6. It's Spared Fungus in the Ferrari and Brevi Sauvage in the Alpine. Up the hill they go between them then. Arrows close that gap down to 3.4 seconds out in front now. Maybe he's decided to activate hammer time, but we're going to see Brevi Sauvage making a move around the outside of the Ferrari. Ferrari might have just let him go there to try and pick up a bit of DRS through this first DRS section that we've got coming up as the Alpine crosses the activation line, as does the Ferrari. Wing wide open on the back of that. The prancing horse down towards turn 4. Going to be too far back to make a move, but is closing in fast. Defensive line from the Alpine then into turn 5 and 6. Has a little look up the inside, does Spared Fungus in the Ferrari, but thinks better of making a dive move. The sun is out now. The sun is shining. Tantrum picks up another 3 seconds. Let's just double check the tyre situation then. Have we got these soft and medium runners having any impact on these top runners? Is side by side Ferrari and Alpine into the final couple of turns. Turn 13 we go then. Up the hill we go. Turn 14, and it's Spared Fungus that takes P5. 8.2 seconds. This battle between the two has allowed that gap to form up to tie clear. Through goes the Alpine again. Brevi Sauvage and Spared Fungus having a right old tussle here on lap 22 of 36. Great to see. Slow Alpine. We've got a slow Alpine, ladies and gentlemen. Red alert, and the red is for Ferrari. Down then. Wing wider open. Surely try to defend with battery is... maximum battery usage there for the Alpine. Brevi Sauvage is still side by side though, the two, as they head towards turn 5, ultimately turn 6 and 7. Up the inside goes the Ferrari of Spared Fungus then to take P5 yet again. That gap now 9.4 seconds to the two Aston Martins out in front. Well, certainly one of the Aston Martins. There's another 6.6 second gap between those two. Perhaps a mistake from Arrow. He's dropped at least 1 second further back now. 4.7 seconds the gap between himself and Josh in that Ferrari. Back to over 1 second gaps through the field then, as Brevi Sauvage does lose a little bit of time coming through Sector 2 then on lap 23 of 36 here at Interlagos. Ladies and gentlemen, this is WHF. It's Mystery Month. It's May, so Triple M, or if you prefer. May Mystery Month. Tonight's mystery was the track. I chose it because I love this thing. I love Interlagos, one of my favourite tracks. A couple of quick sections where DRS and getting in position is important. But I love Sector 2 with the elevation and the fact that your setup can mean the difference between slinging your rear end around and picking up some time penalties. And as you can see, between P4 and P10, those are where your guys have picked up time penalties so far. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 drivers tonight, so R.A. Fitz and Ranga both out of this mystery race. The other part of this mystery night was the fact that we decided to run realistic performance on the cars, and we had a random grid as well, so there was no qualification tonight. So because there was no qualification, you have a quick look at where the position changes have been. Look at Josh and Arrow then. Both up 10 places respectively in the Ferrari and Red Bull. Great performance from the two Aston Martins in Lanky 1 and Clear, though. Up 5 positions each. Brebis Sauvage down 2. 6 down for Tantrum Turnip. 7 down for Addiction. So currently sat in P10. Addiction says he got hit. Ah, right, okay. I got you, mate. Never mind. You're all good. Keep battling away in that Alpine. You're going to be closely followed by Josh. So Josh will be getting towards the end of Sector 2 right now. So you're going to have to get your pedal to the metal, sir, if you don't want to get overtaken and lapped in this race this evening. Arrow then that gap now 5.4 seconds. We won't go on none, we'll go on tyres because that's like something we can do. So the smallest gap we've got between drivers then is 3.2 seconds between Newtomatic and Friggy, his teammate. Those soft tyres don't seem to be working for Friggy anymore. I would imagine we'll see him dip in and fire on some medium tyres shortly as Joshy dumps in and throws on some medium tyres. How about that for a commentator's call? Shame it was the wrong car. Anyway, out comes Josh then. Is he going to come out? I would say he's probably going to come out 16 seconds behind. Let's just double check my timing. Is that going to be like a 16-second gap to the leader? Possibly a little bit less by the look of it. It's 13.5 seconds. 13.5 seconds to make up then in 12 laps. As long as he doesn't have any penalties, of course. So 6.8 seconds the gap then between Arrow, who now leads the race, and the chasing pack. The chasing pack is, of course, headed by the Aston Martin of the Lanky One, 6.7, 6.6 seconds behind. Josh then 12.9 seconds behind Arrow, already closing that gap. You can see the extra grip that he's got on those tyres. What's the gap he's got to Lanky One? That's 5.8 seconds. I think that gap is going to disappear quite sharply. And Addiction is out. We've got ourselves a safety car. What a stroke of luck that is for Arrow. As he crosses the pit line, he's going to throw himself on a new set of medium tyres, if not softs. And then we will see this race go on. Lanky One dives into the pits as well. Josh is going to take the lead of the race, is he? You lose about 18, 19 seconds by the look of it. Arrow throws on the soft tyre. He's not going to come out in front, but he is going to have the tyre advantage. On lap 26 of 36 here. We're going to see a couple of laps. Lanky One chooses mediums. Surprise. Ty Clear. He's going to come in. He's going to choose surely a set of soft tyres. Lanky One and Ty Clear then. Yes, softs there. Mediums for Spared Fungus. What's Brebis Sauvage going to throw on? Set of soft tyres. Tantrum Turnip. In comes the Mercedes. Perfect timing for Friggy, I feel. And of course, oversteered as hell since I got hit, says Addiction. Have you got damage, Addiction? So let's wait until this round of pit stops is complete then, and we've got everybody out on their fresh tyres. The only person, of course, not on fresh tyres is Josh, who pitted one lap before the safety car came out. So he is on fresh tyres, but they are 1 lap old. Change you in, but I couldn't get any better results. Oh, dear. You not got any side pod damage or anything, have you? So let's look at the running order then. Under safety car conditions. That tractor won't turn, says Addiction. I love that from you. So it's not a tractor, it's a hairdryer. The sound of the Alpine. In another league, I've got... I drive the Alpine, and the sound of it just drives me insane. Right then, lap 27 of 36. We're under safety car conditions then. Out in front at present, it's the Ferrari of Joshy C on those 2-lap old medium tyres. We've then got fresh tyres for everybody else. It's then Arrow in the Red Bull on the soft tyre. Lanky One in the first of our 2 Aston Martins on the medium tyre, with the soft tyre runner his teammate Ty Clear in P4. P5 it's Spared Fungus then in the second of our Ferraris. Also, his tyre of choice is the medium tyre. Brebis Sauvage then, as the rest of the field have chosen softies. Brebis Sauvage in P6 in the Alpine. on the soft tyre. Soft tyre for Tantrum Turnip in P7 in that Mercedes. And then, of course, we've got the two McLarens currently sat towards the rear of this remaining field. In P8, it's Frigi and Newtomatic in P9. The two Papaya boys will surely be thankful of the safety car. It's allowed them to close the gap right out in front. Good night, Addiction. Good night, mate. Listen, stick around, mate. Watch the rest of the race. You never know what's going to happen. Pleasure calling you for the first time. I don't think I've called you a race before, have I? So that's your running order. It's Ferrari, Red Bull, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Alpine, Mercedes, McLaren. And we're about to go green again. Let's just have a quick look then. When the car... what we'll do is we'll jump on board with Arrow then in that Red Bull to see when this Ferrari of Jossie C decides to get going. Won't be long now, I'm sure. There, no, there he goes. Lots of stuff happening in behind. But the Ferrari does indeed lead into turn 1, 2, 3 through the centre S. There's a couple of changes positioning. Tantrum and Brebis Sauvage, 7 and 8. Further on down the field then, but out in front, Burning Batteries, Jossie C in the Ferrari down towards turn 4. 5-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag between Frigi. Strange one, that. Lanky one and Ty Clear then. The two Aston Martins still on lap 28 at 36, flying in formation. Great work from those two guys tonight in what could be considered possibly the slowest car in the field. We are on realistic performance. This is mystery month of May here at WHF, and of course, with no qualification, a random grid, a track chosen by me seconds before we got going, and realistic performance. That's where your mysteries come from tonight, and it's Arrow and Joshy out battling for the lead of the race. Ferrari and Red Bull, two Aston Martins just dropping a little bit back now, as DRS is going to get activated at the end of, I think it'll be the end of this lap. There's a 1:10.3 for Joshy, really kind of putting his pedal down. As Tantrum and Frigi exchange positions down that home straight. Into the pits comes Newtomatic again. See if he's having a change. Yep, off comes that front wing. Lost the front end plate. That front left end plate, it had gone. 1.3 seconds the gap between Arrow and Lanky one then. As he tries to stay in contention with this Ferrari out in front. In a realistic performance race, we've lost a Mercedes and we've lost a Red Bull. We've also lost an Alpine, but the Red Bull and Mercedes probably, I guess Mercedes third on the list of quick cars in this game. Behind Ferrari, that would be kind of realistic. Not in current conditions, of course. Would expect the McLarens to be one of the quickest cars these days. Certainly have seen Lando win that race at Miami recently. Here comes Arrow then. No DRS open just yet. There is the signifier. DRS has been enabled then. As the guys start lap 30 of 36. Arrow in prime position then. In this Red Bull. Currently 6.5 tenths back. Let's see how much he can drag that back then. Gets a 10.5. As Lanky one and Ty Clear, the two teammates, round turn 4. Battling it out. Aston Martin pit lane going wild. The Ferrari of Spared Fungus in close contention as well on the back of Ty Clear. Great view here from the rear wing of the Lanky one in the first, as Ty Clear does indeed cut that corner. We caught that in 4K. Picks himself up another 3 seconds. That's going to encourage Tantrum Turnip, who's got penalties himself. Well, he's got 12 of the second penalties as Tantrum. Ty Clear 6, and Spared Fungus has actually managed to get himself into a position where he's going to challenge up this hill, down the long straight, towards turn 1, because Ty Clear's dropped out of DRS range. Here comes the wing, there it is. Gap of 5.6 tenths has actually increased, that's wild. Let's check in with our leaders then. Arrow and Josh. Has Arrow got his wing up? Yes, Arrow did have his wing up. Newtomatic picks up 3 seconds as well. The penalty points are picking up here. Interlagos, lap 31 of 36. 2 cars in it for the win at the minute. It's Joshy in the Ferrari, Arrow in the Red Bull. 3.5 second gap now to the 2 Aston Martins of the Lanky One and Ty Clear. Ty Clear actually overtaken by Spared Fungus, who looks like he's made a move up into turn number 6. Keeps himself out in front as well, up the hill towards turn 8. They go. Now 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 seconds behind the other Aston Martin. So it's a Ferrari sandwich with 2 pieces of Aston Martin bread. Are we going to see Arrow make a move, though, down this home straight? Here he goes, wing wide open on the rear of that Red Bull. Is he going to go and try around the outside? He is. And gets the move done in plenty of time. Gets on the brakes, too, in time to get through the center S's and retain his lead. But Joshy in the Ferrari, who does pick up 3 seconds. That puts a spanner in his works. He's going to have DRS down that straight, down towards turn number 4, though. Is he going to be able to get him close enough to make a move? No, he is not. Decides to tuck in and stay in behind that Red Bull. He's got himself some work to do now, though, on lap 32 here off 36. Another 3 seconds for the Tantrum Turnip. He's bagged himself 15 seconds. It'll be more seconds than it will be points, that's for sure. Lanky One might now be looking at that, thinking, do I get myself on? He's not done well at farming that battery. He's 2.5 seconds out in front of the other Ferrari. So now it's an Aston Martin sandwich. He's got himself 2.5 seconds out from behind the other one. So Lanky One, 5.1 seconds off the back of Josh. Needs to push, but Joshy will be pushing hard as he retakes the lead of the race on track. Net is not, though. Net is second, though, because Arrow, with those no penalties, would currently take the lead of the race. But we know that Arrow won't be happy with finishing second on track. He'll want the race win. Wing wide open yet again. Lap 33. We're chewing through these laps, ladies and gentlemen. Now, half a second between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. Then half a second. Oh, as Ty gets himself round. Contact between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin, though. Ty Clear tried to go round. A little bit of contact between the Aston Martin and the Ferrari, and that means that Ferrari of Spared Fungus does have a missing left end plate on that front wing. He will have to come into the pits, or will he just try and stick it out? Because we are now further on the race. He's got plenty of time in the bag compared to some of these guys behind him. We've got stink loads of penalties. Might try and stick it out if I'm Spared Fungus. I'll probably try and stick it out. The 2 drivers behind him with 15 and 14 seconds respectively. That might open the door for Brevis Sauvage to pick up a couple of positions, though, because he'll be looking. He won't know right now that wing is damaged on that Ferrari. But as that gap between himself and the Ferrari does begin, and no, into the pits goes Spared Fungus then. He's going to take that gamble. See if he can throw him on himself some softs, perhaps. And see what he can do. 3 laps to go then. Into Sector 2 we go. Lap 34 here at Interlagos on WHF Mystery May Month. Tier 2, Night 2. Arrow are clear race winner at present. However, will not want to finish second on track. Will want to challenge the Ferrari of Joshy C. Easy for me to say. Joshy C. And take the win on track as well as after the penalties have been enforced at the end of the race. Little bit of wiggle there from that Red Bull. Loses a couple of tenths. Climbing the hill then. We are going to get that rear wing open though still. Didn't lose enough to get himself out of DRS range. All the way down to 4 tenths. That gap. Will no doubt close in yet again then. As the exit of the Center S's moves us onto the second DRS straight. 6 tenths the gap. What's the gap going to be as we get down towards turn 4? Gets 2 tenths this time. Burning some battery. 50% battery. Good battery management from Arrow. Just be sitting patiently now if you're in the Red Bull. Because as we get to enter the final lap of this race around Interlagos, you are going to get an opportunity to make the pass. And there it is. Now, that looked like it might have been a little bit of DRS cheekiness from that Ferrari of Arrow. From that Ferrari of Joshy C. He's going to get himself into a position to challenge on the inside of Arrow. Down towards turn 1. There he goes. Through goes the Ferrari. But are we going to see Arrow challenge back now? 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths the gap. We saw him take up 2 tenths last time he was out. Looks like he might dive down the inside of the Ferrari. Into turn 4. He does. But later on the brakes is the Ferrari. Goes off track though. Arrow on the inside still as they go through turn 4 towards turn 5. Round the outside, do we see the Red Bull go? No, we don't, as the inside line taken by the Ferrari is enough for Joshy C to retain the lead of this race. The final lap, here we go, into the twisty-turny section with plenty of elevation in it. Sector 2 of Interlagos. And it looks like Arrow, unless he can make a move up that hill, is going to have to settle for second on track, but victory by penalties. Are we going to see him make a move? Is he going to be quick enough? There goes the battery burn. 49%. Plenty of battery there. Much more battery. On we go then. Down towards the line. But it looks like the gap's going to be too much. And just about as Joshy claims the win on track. But is preceded should I say, by WH Arrow in the Red Bull, who takes the win tonight around Interlagos. Second is Joshy C in the Ferrari. Completing our podium positions. It's an Aston Martin. It's the lanky one in the first of our Aston Martins. As Ty Clear crosses the line in P4. Tantrum Turnip crosses the line P5. P6 is going to be Friggy. Robbie Savage does indeed take P5 though with those penalties that bump him up in the standings. Spared Fungus P7 now. Friggy P8 and Newtomatic just about getting himself round that final turn. Through turn 15 he goes towards the line to just about crash, do a flip, a turn, a bump and a skip and land in perfect formation. It's the 9th position Newtomatic V2. He'll have to drive V3 next week if you ask me. Driver of the day is WHF Arrow. Great win from Arrow there. Superb stuff from him. Congratulations to the driver of the Red Bull. Shoo, says Skillax. Skillax, were you in the race? Or were you just watching, mate? There we go then. Champagne sprayed by Aston Martin on the 3rd step of the podium. Ferrari on the 2nd step of the podium, but ultimately on the top step of the podium. We can see Adrian Newey there stood with Arrow and Skillax's Bribis. There you go. Now I know. Now I know. Imagine doing my groundwork and understanding that up front. But hey-ho. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your race results for tonight. Out in P1 of the Red Bull, it's WHF Arrow. Started 12th on the grid. Started 11th on the grid is the Ferrari of Joshy C. He finishes 2nd. 3rd on the podium is the lanky one in the Aston Martin, followed closely by his teammate Ty Clear. Brebis Sauvage in the Alpine in P5. It's P6 for the Mercedes of Tantrum Turnip. P7 for Spared Fungus in the 2nd Ferraris. The 2 McLarens finishing P8 and P9 in Friggy and Newtomatic. And then our DNFs for the evening. Unfortunately, WT Addiction in the Alpine. The other one, RA Fitz in the Red Bull. And Ranger, who went relatively early doors in the 2nd Mercedes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to the winner of the race, Arrow, and well done to everybody who managed to finish tonight. Superb stuff. Much appreciated. I'm hoping you've enjoyed tuning in to WHF. We are running, obviously, more events throughout the course of this mystery month of May. If you're here for the very first time, don't forget, I'm pretty sure we've got a link somewhere that you can click that will take you into WHF and you can join our league. With it being the end of the game cycle and not too long until F1 24 launches, we've decided to run some fun events where we keep things under wraps, unless I accidentally drop them into chat before the race begins. You enjoyed that one, Lanky One? Yeah, I enjoyed calling it, mate. It was a good race. There were lots of gaps in there that we had to contend with, but there was some real good racing as well and plenty of positions exchanged throughout the course of the field. I don't know whether I'm doing interviews or not in a fun race. I don't know. I don't think we are. GG boys. FDC, who are you? Should I take a guess? Friggy. Are you Friggy? You Friggy. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, thank you so much. Really appreciate you tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed your racing, guys. Well done to everybody that managed to get themselves around. And even if you didn't, well done for turning up tonight. Be nice if we could get some... you are indeed Friggy, because I can see that Jamaica... I can't see the Jamaica flag. I could just see the JM, which is the flag in my kind of Discord thing. So congratulations to you guys. Well done for sticking it out, those of you guys who managed to get finished. And no doubt we will see you again tomorrow night. It is the turn of Tier 1. I don't know who's going to be running it, but Tier 1 WHF Mystery Month of May, round number 2 for those guys tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure whoever runs that race will have some exciting things in store for you. So make sure you tune in. Otherwise, I'll come find you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the race. Well done to everybody, like I said before. Take care. Have a great one, and we'll see you soon. We'll just wait for the raid to come through. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. Take care. We're going to raid Hazard 2 Trappy, so go give that guy some WHF love, and we'll see you soon.